If you own property in Los Angeles, what's happening in these 10 neighborhoods could be heading straight for your street next. From Hollywood Hills to South LA, million-dollar communities are becoming vacant lots as home values crash 25% or more in just 18 months, making 2008's housing collapse look like a minor market correction. Venice Beach mansions sitting empty for 4 months, Hollywood condos slashed by $200,000, and entire blocks in Boyle Heights where half the houses display for sale signs. These aren't just statistics on a spreadsheet. They're entire communities watching their equity vanish and their neighbors pack up and leave for Arizona and Texas. Which LA neighborhoods are quietly transforming into ghost towns right now, and could yours be next? Venice Beach was supposed to be the crown jewel of LA's coastal renaissance, but in 2025, that dream is crumbling faster than the old pier pilings. Venice Beach's boardwalk once symbolized California's creative spirit, where street performers and tech entrepreneurs shared the same sunset views. Today, those same oceanfront properties tell a different story. Home values have plummeted 22% from $1.8 million to $1.4 million in just 12 months, wiping out $400,000 in equity for homeowners who bought at the peak. The numbers reveal a community in crisis. Violent crime has surged 47% year over year, transforming family-friendly streets into areas where parents won't let children play outside. Walk the famous boardwalk and you'll see the evidence everywhere. 35% of businesses that survived the pandemic permanently shuttered their doors in 2020, 2024. The iconic Muscle Beach outdoor gym sits largely empty, surrounded by boarded storefronts that once sold everything from vintage t-shirts to artisanal coffee. What's driving the exodus? Tech workers who flocked to Venice during the work-from-home boom are now fleeing to Austin and Miami, where their salaries stretch further and safety concerns don't dominate neighborhood apps. The creative community that built Venice's reputation is dissolving as artists and musicians relocate to more affordable cities where they can actually afford to create. Real estate agents report houses sitting empty for over 4 months, compared to the typical 30-day average before the decline began. When oceanfront properties can't find buyers, the ripple effects spread inland through every Venice neighborhood. The morning surf sessions continue, but fewer and fewer locals are left to enjoy them. While Venice battles crime and decay, another iconic LA neighborhood faces different but equally devastating economic forces. Hollywood should have been immune to housing market downturns. Tourism returned to pre-pandemic levels. The Walk of Fame attracts millions of visitors, and movie premieres still generate headlines worldwide. Yet beneath the glittering surface, the entertainment capital's housing market is collapsing faster than a poorly scripted sequel. Median home prices have crashed 19% from $950,000 to $770,000, erasing $180,000 in homeowner equity. That's devastating enough, but the real crisis runs deeper than property values. The entertainment industry has shed 15,000 jobs since the streaming wars intensified, gutting the purchasing power that once sustained Hollywood's residential market. Drive through residential streets near the studios, and you'll witness an unprecedented sight. 28% of apartments sitting vacant for over 90 days. These aren't luxury units waiting for celebrity tenants. They're ordinary homes that middle-class film crews, editors, and production assistants used to call home. When your industry eliminates thousands of jobs, housing demand evaporates overnight. The production exodus tells the devastating future story. Georgia's tax incentives and New Mexico's cost advantages are luring productions away from Hollywood's sound stages, taking with them the steady employment that anchored local neighborhoods. Set designers and camera operators who built their lives around the industry are discovering their skills travel better than their mortgages. Even tourists can sense the change. The energy that once made Hollywood feel electric now feels desperate, as empty apartments overlook streets where dreams once flourished. From entertainment's epicenter to LA's traditional working-class backbone, the housing crisis is spreading to communities that built the city. Boyle Heights has weathered gentrification battles, freeway construction, and decades of economic upheaval while maintaining its identity as the heart of LA's Latino community. For generations, families put down roots here, building businesses and raising children in neighborhoods where Spanish echoed from every corner market and quinceañera hall. That foundation is cracking. The population declined 11% in 2024 alone, the largest single-year drop in 50 years. When an established community loses 1 in every 10 residents in 12 months, you're witnessing demographic collapse, not normal migration patterns. Home values have fallen 16% despite years of gentrification pressure that was supposed to drive prices higher, not lower. The human impact tells the real story. School enrollment plummeted 23% as families packed up for cities where jobs still exist and rent doesn't consume 70% of household income. Walk down Cesar Chavez Avenue and count the empty storefronts. Local businesses are closing at a rate of 3 per week. Family restaurants that served the community for decades now display for lease signs in windows that once showcased hand-painted menus. What's driving families away isn't gentrification anymore, it's economic stagnation. The development projects that activists fought to stop have been canceled anyway, leaving behind vacant lots and broken promises. Young adults who grew up here are discovering their degrees and ambitions require zip codes their families can no longer afford to live near. The community organizations that once mobilized against displacement are now helping longtime residents relocate to more affordable states. While Boyle Heights loses residents, another neighborhood is discovering that even coastal location can't protect against economic fundamentals. San Pedro built its identity on the promise that hard work at the ports would sustain middle-class families for generations. Longshoremen earned union wages that bought homes with ocean views, funded college educations, and anchored stable neighborhoods where neighbors knew each other's names. That economic foundation is disappearing faster than cargo ships can unload their automated containers. Home prices have crashed 21% from $725,000 to $573,000. Wiping out $152,000 in equity for families who thought port proximity guaranteed stable property values. The housing inventory has exploded by 67%, flooding a market that can no longer absorb the supply when the jobs that once supported buyers have vanished. Port automation eliminated 4,200 longshoremen jobs since 2023, replacing human workers with robotic cranes and AI-powered logistics systems. When you eliminate that many high-paying union positions from a community built around maritime work, the ripple effects devastate every local business, from the corner markets to the auto repair shops that serviced workers' trucks. Young families who inherited their parents' houses are discovering that emotional attachment can't pay property taxes or maintenance costs. They're selling and relocating to Riverside and San Bernardino counties, where their equity stretches further and career opportunities don't depend on an industry that's systematically eliminating human jobs. Drive through residential streets and you'll see the evidence everywhere. Moving trucks, for sale signs, and the quiet emptiness of neighborhoods losing their next generation. From the port to the hills, even LA's most exclusive neighborhoods aren't immune to the forces reshaping the region. Los Feliz represented everything affluent Angelenos wanted: hillside homes with city views, tree-lined streets, and the cultural cachet of living near Griffith Observatory. For decades, this East Side enclave maintained premium property values through economic downturns, natural disasters, and housing market volatility. Wealth and elevation were supposed to provide insulation from the problems plaguing other LA neighborhoods. That insulation is evaporating faster than morning marine layer. Insurance premiums now average $8,500 annually, a staggering 340% increase that's pushing housing costs beyond even high earners' comfort zones. When your fire insurance exceeds your property taxes, the math becomes impossible for all but the wealthiest residents. Home values have fallen 15% despite Los Feliz's historical stability, shocking longtime residents who viewed their properties as recession-proof investments. 25% of homes now carry for sale signs, compared to the 8% historical average that real estate agents considered normal market activity. The exodus is accelerating among families who can afford to leave. They're relocating to Orange County communities where insurance costs remain manageable and crime spillover from downtown hasn't reached their children's schools yet. These aren't distressed sales. These are calculated decisions by affluent families who realize that prestige addresses can't overcome unsustainable operating costs. Walk through Los Feliz Village and you'll notice subtle changes. Fewer families at weekend farmers markets, more houses with security systems, and conversations that revolve around insurance quotes rather than restaurant recommendations. While Los Feliz battles insurance costs, another neighborhood faces the unique challenge of retail apocalypse destroying its community foundation. Mid-Wilshire promised the best of urban living: walkable streets lined with ground-floor retail, convenient transit access, and the density that makes city neighborhoods vibrant. Young professionals and transit-dependent residents flocked here for the convenience of stepping out their front doors into a thriving commercial district where coffee shops, restaurants, and essential services created the pedestrian energy that defines successful urban communities. That pedestrian energy is vanishing block by block. 42% of ground-floor retail spaces now sit vacant, creating dead zones where bustling sidewalks once connected residents to daily necessities. When nearly half the storefronts display "for lease" signs, you're not witnessing normal business turnover. You're watching a neighborhood's commercial foundation collapse. Purple Line construction has turned the area into a 3-plus-year obstacle course of blocked streets, noise, and dust that drives away both customers and businesses. Even with apartment rents down 18%, landlords are still losing tenants who discover that discounted rent can't compensate for the inconvenience of navigating construction zones just to buy groceries. The hoped-for spillover from Koreatown's success hasn't materialized. Instead of expansion, you're seeing contraction as businesses that might have bridged the gap choose to locate in areas where foot traffic isn't disrupted by ongoing infrastructure projects. Transit-dependent residents, the demographic that was supposed to anchor Mid-Wilshire's future, are discovering that public transportation promises don't help when the neighborhood around the stations becomes unlivable during construction. From urban density to suburban sprawl, the crisis is reaching neighborhoods that seemed insulated by distance and demographics. Canoga Park epitomized the San Fernando Valley's middle-class promise: aerospace engineers and manufacturing workers earning solid salaries, buying tract homes with swimming pools, and raising families in neighborhoods where high school graduates could land jobs at Lockheed or Rocketdyne that would support them for decades. This wasn't Hollywood glamour, but it was the reliable foundation that built California's post-war prosperity. That foundation is crumbling beneath families who played by all the rules. Home values have crashed 24% from $680,000 to $517,000, wiping out $163,000 in equity for homeowners who thought aerospace jobs provided recession-proof stability. The aerospace sector eliminated 6,800 positions since 2023 as defense contracts moved to lower-cost states and companies automated production lines. When you lose that many well-paying jobs from a community built around technical manufacturing, the economic devastation spreads through every local business, from the auto dealerships to the youth sports leagues that families can no longer afford. Foreclosure filings have spiked 156% year over year as engineers and technicians discover their specialized skills don't translate easily to other industries. The school district is considering consolidation due to enrollment drops as families relocate to states where aerospace companies are still hiring and housing costs haven't outpaced salaries. Drive through residential streets lined with ranch-style homes, and you'll see the evidence everywhere. Engineering textbooks at garage sales, moving trucks heading toward Texas and Colorado, and for sale signs on houses where slide rules once shared desk space with mortgage documents. While the valley struggles with job losses, another neighborhood faces the devastating combination of demographics and economic shifts. Westlake thrived as a dense immigrant community where new arrivals could find affordable housing, Spanish-speaking businesses, and the social networks that help families establish themselves in America. For decades, this neighborhood west of downtown served as an economic launching pad where restaurant workers, construction crews, and service industry employees could save money, send remittances home, and eventually move to more spacious neighborhoods once their finances stabilized. That economic ecosystem is collapsing faster than families can pack their belongings. The population dropped 14% in just 18 months, a demographic hemorrhaging that signals community breakdown, not normal migration patterns. When 1 in 7 residents abandons a neighborhood in such a short time frame, you're witnessing the dissolution of the social and economic networks that made the area function. Remittance businesses are closing as residents relocate to cities where economic opportunities still exist and safety concerns don't dominate daily conversations. Gang violence has surged 67%, transforming streets where children once played into areas where parents rushed from cars to front doors after dark. The housing market reflects the desperation. Average home sale times have tripled from 35 to 127 days as buyers avoid a neighborhood where crime statistics show up immediately in online searches. Even families willing to overlook safety concerns are discovering that economic opportunities, the jobs in restaurants, construction, and services that sustained Westlake, are disappearing as businesses close or relocate to safer areas. Walk through the commercial strips and you'll see the evidence everywhere. Shuttered money transfer shops, Feliz signs in 3 languages, and the quiet emptiness of sidewalks where vibrant street life once flourished. From dense urban living to coastal exclusivity, our final neighborhood shows how even prime location can't overcome systemic problems. El Segundo transformed itself from an industrial refinery town into a tech hub where aerospace heritage met Silicon Beach innovation. Companies like Beyond Meat, Ring, and dozens of startups chose this airport-adjacent location for the proximity to LAX, relatively affordable office space, and the cachet of building the next generation of California companies just minutes from one of the world's busiest airports. That transformation is reversing faster than a departing flight. Tech company relocations have eliminated 3,400 local jobs as businesses discover that Austin and Phoenix offer better tax incentives, lower operating costs, and employees who don't spend 40% of their salaries on housing. Home prices have fallen 17% from $1.1 million to $913,000, erasing $187,000 in equity for residents who bet their futures on the neighborhood's tech renaissance. The airport that once symbolized connectivity and opportunity has become a liability. LAX noise pollution increased 45%, with new flight paths that route planes directly over residential neighborhoods, making outdoor conversations impossible during peak travel hours. When you can't enjoy your backyard or open your windows due to aircraft noise, premium home prices become impossible to justify. Commercial real estate vacancy rates hit 31% as tech companies abandon their leases for destinations where operational costs don't consume their venture capital funding. Empty office buildings that once housed innovative startups now display 4 lease signs that attract few serious inquiries. Drive through El Segundo's residential streets and you'll see moving trucks heading east, carrying the dreams and talent that were supposed to anchor LA's economic future. The pattern across these neighborhoods reveals the deeper crisis threatening LA's future as America's second-largest city. These 10 neighborhoods aren't isolated failures. They're symptoms of systemic collapse threatening Los Angeles' viability as America's economic powerhouse. Look at the common threads destroying communities from Venice Beach to El Segundo. Insurance costs averaging $8,000 annually, massive job losses across key industries, infrastructure decay, and crime rates that make family life untenable for middle-class residents. The economic migration is accelerating beyond normal population shifts. Texas alone gained over 150,000 California residents in 2024, representing billions in lost economic activity and tax revenue. Arizona, Nevada, and Florida are experiencing similar influxes of Los Angeles refugees seeking affordable housing, reasonable insurance premiums, and career opportunities that don't require spending 70% of income on basic shelter. LA's city budget is entering crisis territory as the tax base erodes. When aerospace engineers flee Canoga Park, tech workers abandon El Segundo, and entertainment professionals exit Hollywood, they take their income tax contributions with them. The revenue shortfall cascades through every public service, from schools consolidating due to enrollment drops to police departments understaffed by 30%. The timeline for recovery looks grim unless fundamental changes occur rapidly. Insurance costs must stabilize. Job markets need diversification beyond industries relocating to lower-cost states. And infrastructure requires massive investment that the shrinking tax base can't support. Without dramatic policy intervention, these neighborhoods could become permanent examples of Los Angeles' decline rather than temporary casualties of market forces. The question isn't whether LA can recover, it's whether the city has the political will to implement changes before the exodus becomes irreversible.